everybody, and welcome to our final session today. I'm sure we're all very excited to find out who our 10 winners of the Emerging Talent Awards are going to be. 20 were shortlisted, among those nominated by their managers and directors in the spring. You may have seen some of them in the publications and on social media in the show's catalogue as well. The 10 winners will be named and presented with their awards at the end of this session, and we'll have a short video as well explaining a little bit more about all the winners. But first, we're going to hear from those in the industry about the skills that are going to be required by leaders of the future. Because the stone industry, of course, like every industry, is changing. We've seen the huge revolution that the pandemic brought in terms of the acceleration to digital, and there is no going back from that because, of course, it is permeating every area of construction, and COVID really did accelerate its advance. So, you know, we all didn't have Teams meetings so much or Zooms meetings, and now we're still having them constantly. And obviously, stone is a very, very natural and physical product so to some extent, you know, you can't completely digitize the entire industry. But we heard yesterday from Neil Matthew from Gillespie's all about the Elephant Park project, how they didn't actually manage to attend or visit the quarry in Italy that they hoped to do. They'd chosen the stone but wanted to hand select actually on site the stone that they would use for that project. Instead, they set up a video live stream, and the family run quarries workers would bring out the stone and they could see in real time as they were handling it, as they could see all the lines through it, and were able to make those decisions remotely. So it's clear that digitization is a real benefit if used correctly, and perhaps it could also help attract new members into the organisation, into the industry that you're really lacking in certain roles. And that's going to be part of the discussion that we're going to be having today. And we're going to work out how the Stone Academy can tie into all of that and present the opportunities and training needed to bring emerging talent through. So to explore all of this, we've got a great lineup of speakers. Sean Collins, who's the Managing Director of the stone company Boden and Ward, based in Flor, Northamptonshire. So they offer a real complete service for all masonry requirements, from initial planning right through to fixing and completion. So really well positioned to tell us about the training and development they provide. Also, we'll have on stage Stefan Mordue, who is a senior digital consultant for Cohesive Digital, which designs and delivers web, mobile and cloud business communications for different various needs across industries, including the construction industry. He's a chartered architect. He's a published author, consultant and construction project manager. And we'll have Chloe Newmann, who's a senior structural engineer at Webb Yates, an engineering company. We've heard from members of the company already at the seminars throughout this show. And of course, Webb Yates is an engineering company that is a really strong advocate of the use of natural stone in construction. And we'll find out a little bit more on why in this discussion. So please do come up to the stage and we can start our talks on what the future holds for emerging talent and how we can facilitate that. So welcome, everybody. Chris Kelsey, how did I forget? And you can tell us, of course, all about the Stone Academy and just what a vital role it's going to be playing. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. And Chloe, I'd like to start with you, because Webb Yates really is known for sustainability really right through its DNA. Do you think because of that, it helps you attract new talent, and actually, because of the projects that you undertake, helps with retention as well?
Yeah, I really do think so. It's quite obvious in younger generations. They care so much about the environment. They really do. It's something they've grown up being worried about. They're worried about climate change. They're worried about the climate crisis. They start to learn that kind of thing through school and university, which is something that even I didn't really grow up kind of thinking about. So they're so much more aware and worried about it. And one of the ways to combat that is to use natural materials, design sustainably, use renewable resources and things like that. So having that kind of lean on a lot of our projects, I think really does attract that kind of younger staff and helps, I guess, does help retain them, because we are always working, we're always learning new ways to design better. It's constant learning. A lot of research and development goes into that kind of thing. So
led you on to join the industry?
what originally?
Yeah.
I've always been really interested in buildings. I actually started studying architecture, realised that wasn't quite for me, need a bit more maths in my life. So kind of sideways into engineering. And I think I've stayed at Webb Yates because it is constantly challenging. It's never just straightforward, simple, let's design a concrete frame here, steel frame is the obvious solution, it's easy, let's do that. It's always like, no, how can we make this better? How can we do this differently? How can we think more broadly about the problem and approach it differently? So it's a constantly challenging industry, I think, and you have to be quite creative to work it work.
And Chris, when you hear what Chloe's talking about, the fact that she segued into the industry and it wasn't necessarily what she thought she was going to do at the beginning, do you think there is actually a problem about marketing the natural stone industry itself and attracting the best talent? How can it be improved so that actually more people understand that there's a great career that they could follow here?
I think it's absolutely correct that it's not marketed properly. I think as an industry, we suffer from a reputation that goes back probably to the cartoons of the Flintstones, and everybody thinks that it's a very old traditional industry. They don't realise how much technology is involved, how the advances in materials, processing and the use of materials can actually give you a career that can span all sorts of different aspects of it. There's even people like yourselves that looked at architecture as a career, but there are people in architecture that are no good at architecture that could come into the industry from the training that they've had and actually perform within this sector of the industry, within the construction side, in a very good way. But it's how we market that to the careers people, the schools people, and the university and the colleges to get people interested early enough. Once you have the interest, then I think there's a lot of people stay in the trade.
Yeah.
Once you're there, it's a very nice trade to work in.
Sean College, is that your experience? As in, it's actually finding the right people at the beginning. And do you think we've lost our way a bit because apprenticeships almost fell by the wayside in this quest to get everybody through university?
I think so, yeah. I think we need to get back to trying to get young people back into it. And where do we start? As a company, I can't go out and get a load of young people in to come and have a go. So we do need help from perhaps careers in schools and things like that. For me, it's a profession. If you're going to do traditional masonry, the younger you start, the better. Before you go ahead with the modern technology and everything else, they need to learn traditional skills. The same way it was always learnt, the same way I learnt it and people before me learnt it, starting off with the very basics and working through learning discipline, learning about quality, and just making that habit, making the right things to do a habit. Once you've got them habits, them good habits, and quality is a natural thing, not something that you're striving to do, it's something you always do. Once you've achieved that, you can go into every part of the industry then and do well. And whether it's programming machines, CAD drawings, fixing, you need the good habits, and that comes from starting at the very bottom and starting with the very, very basics.
Could, though, perhaps you look at it another way, Stefan, whereby you could perhaps attract younger people through the digital kind of revolutionary side of the business, but then they could perhaps turn their hand and become interested in more of the basics. I mean, could it go the other way, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got 2 young children. They're digitally enabled. They've got their phones. You know, I go to them with my tech problems. They're just used to having technology around them. They're not fearful of it. They're not frightened of it. They use it as a complementary skill more than anything else. And I think that's what we need to do as an industry, particularly when we talk about things like AI, artificial intelligence. I mean, just the other day, an advisor to Richie Sunak was saying, you know, within 2 years, the human race will be wiped out by AI. So there's a lot of kind of scaremongering. where these things don't happen overnight. They're very gradual. But like I say, they can be very complementary to the skill sets that we've got.
I mean, yeah, that is scaremongering when you hear headlines like that. And do you think actually we should look at this differently about the opportunity that digitization presents? Do you think some in the industry are fearful of it because of the scary headlines?
Of course, there's always going to be winners. There's always going to be losers. There's lots of professions that have died out, but equally there's lots of new professions and skills and roles which have emerged. So there's always going to be opportunities. Now, I can guarantee you, in 5 to 10 years' time, if we're back here on this stage, there'll be a whole host of new roles that we haven't even thought of yet. So there's a conundrum. How do we prepare our next generation of students for roles that haven't been created yet, using technology that hasn't been invented to ultimately solve a problem that we don't yet know is a problem?
Chris, you've got then a big task on your hands trying to provide that training for jobs that we don't yet know have evolved. How is Stone Academy viewing all of this?
Well, speaking to all of the fabricators that are giving us the information and all the other members of the Federation, we're trying to pull together as much as we can to see what their needs are at the moment. By speaking to all the Institute of Quarrying and all the other collaborations with what we're trying to do with the training centres that we're pulling together, we'll hopefully get the universities and the colleges and the schools involved and try and then develop presentations for careers development and open days, and bring a little bit more attention to some of the work that's being done by members of the Federation to get more marketing done, raise the profile of what's going on different schemes, and use the media and all the social channels that we have to actually make people realise that the stone industry covers an awful lot of things in the background that people take for granted. They don't see what's going on sometimes from what's actually in front of them. If you look at anything on the TV at the moment, anything that's done, it's usually done in beautiful houses with swimming pools, with marble floors and everything. People don't notice that. If you look at recently all the ceremonies that have gone on in London, in Westminster Abbey, all the stonework, the marbles, there's everything that's on there that's lasted hundreds of years. How many people actually looked at what was going on there and how that's been kept and restored? And the whole world has seen everything that's done with that. And if we can try and get people to actually look and see the stone and the marble that's in the background, rather than the influencer that stood there with a bloody bottle of shampoo in the hand, actually look a little bit further and we can get a stone influencer going, then we might get a bit more attention for what's in the background for everybody.
So there's a challenge. What do you think about that, Sean? A stone influencer, would that help with your recruitment and retention?
I'm sure it would. I just think we need to stay traditional, but companies need to need to learn again how to train. So if we set out good structured training programs for people, we can present that to people coming into the industry. We can say, right, we're going to teach you this, then we're going to move you on to this. And then after the first 3 years or so, people start to recognise parts of the industry they want to go into. But if they've got the fundamentals, if they've got the good habits, they'll achieve. And if companies need to learn to offer that, to show them paths, and that will help draw people in. Stone's a vast industry. So yeah, it's.
And how will kind of industry-wide approaches and the training that the Stone Academy aims to deliver, how could that help individual companies like yours?
I'm not sure. Not sure at the moment. It's quite a new outset.
Which kind of training would be really useful that you could offer, that you could almost kind of pull from an academy and deliver kind of in-house?
Well, I think there is a shortage at the moment of good masons, definitely, and that's not the new people coming through's fault. There's too many people in colleges that are full-time in colleges, so they're not getting the experience of a work environment or learning in a place where you're earning your money. And that's the best way. That's the only way you can really learn properly. So I think, hopefully, we will as a company get involved and help give your seminars, and we'll help train, and hopefully other companies will get involved. I think the stone, especially our traditional masons and traditional skills, we need to sort of maybe group together a little bit. I know it sounds unrealistic, and perhaps share our skills, start getting a structure between us and working as a team, because we all want to give back. You know, you get to an age where you've enjoyed your career, you love what you do, and it's nice to then set people off on that path. And whether it's with new machinery or whatever, it's still got to be done properly. It's still got to be done with the right attitude to quality and service. And, you know, these machines can turn out marvellous things now, but they've still got to be taken and fitted and handled correctly.
Now, on that point, actually, that Sean's making there about the new machinery, automation, Stefan, how do you think automation and digitalisation and really transform the industry over the next couple of years?
I think, I mean, not just this industry, all industries, I think it's going to get rid of a lot of mundane, a lot of repetitive tasks that's easy to automate. I mean, there's a lot of things. You've got some really highly skilled individuals here, got really, know their craft. That's going to be a hard thing to kind of replace. But I think some of these supporting production methods, we'll see a lot of that automated, and that the repetitiveness and the mundane tasks taken out of the equation, I think.
And Chloe, have you seen a difference through your career already where automation has helped reduce the mundane?
I was going to say it applies even to my industry. We're obviously design based. We don't have the same process driven physical work, but even the design, the analysis, the calculations through my career, and you can see it changing so fast. How that's done is different. You know, we've gone from using a pencil and a calculator to having software that runs analyzes structures that we could never have done by hand. There's parametric modeling and things that can look at shapes that we couldn't even visualize, let alone draw or design or analyze. So that is something that is still changing now, and I guess will take us in all kinds of directions in the future. But you can't ever take away from still having an engineer sat on the other side of that program. You can't give the software, and I think it's probably the same for all the developments in the kind of stonemason side. You can't just give the software to someone who's untrained and say, go design a building, it will spit out a result, and that's the job done. You need to have enough knowledge, and I guess you need to have enough base skill, traditional skills, to be able to sense check that. Oh, is that what I expected? Does this make sense? Double check this, is that right? So it's kind of use those advances and use those technologies, but don't blindly use them, I guess. And you always have to have a person on the other side that's still critically thinking and being sensible about things.
Would you say that these advances have enabled you to take on and develop projects that are even more sustainable than they could have been in the past? And have you got any examples?
I think so. I don't know if I have an example specifically, but just it allows you to be more efficient. I think the better we are at design, the more efficient you can be in your material use. So whereas years ago you might have if you look at stone, for example, structurally there's loads of ancient stone buildings, but they are huge chunks of stone, really thick walls. We can design similar structures now that fit the kind of slimline, modern, space efficient kind of requirements of clients these days. So you can use a traditional material, but you can be smarter about how you use it, more efficient with it, so you're using less of it and you're just using it in a better way, I think.
And do you think that we're seeing a real kind of step change overall across the industry in sustainable design, Sean? And is that helping really progress change in the industry, would you say?
I mean, we're driven by clients, we're driven by architects, by engineers, so we put our hand to what they ask us to do. So yes, I think it is in some ways, but I think also on where you're slimming the material down or using less of it, it still needs to be used for a long term.
Yeah.
So these buildings where they have been built with large pieces of stone are still there 200, 300, 400 years later. So they're very green buildings. So it depends whether things are being designed to put up in 60 years, 50 years, and then that's a waste of stone, that's a waste of time, that's a waste of design. But that's the modern the modern way.
It's a huge discussion in the sustainable world, I think, is, do you design for efficiency or do you design for longevity? So do you build a building that will last for 200 years, but it is what it is and it will be like that for 200 years?
It's to be a good building.
Yeah, 100 years. Or do you design something that's efficient and flexible? So today it might be used as offices, but in 50 years it's going to have a new life and it will be retail, it will be hospital. So do you have to design in that ability to change with time? So using, it's an argument I don't think we've ever got to the bottom of. Efficient, flexible, or robust. You can't necessarily have all three things.
And at the Stone Academy, how are you going to be integrating all of these kind of conflicting areas of sustainable design and how the industry should approach it? Have you thought about that yet?
No.
I feel as though there's an awful lot landing on your plate throughout all of these seminars, I must admit. You need to create the treasure trove of knowledge and organise the future of sustainable design. But what would you say your kind of roadmap is going forward?
I think the element of sustainability is the word is only the tip of the iceberg. Within the stone industry, sustainability has lots of well-proven examples of how sustainable the materials will be. The difficulty within the stone industry and how we use the materials is the way architecture is progressing commercially and the way it's progressing on high-end residential and other buildings. If you have a good client that's prepared to invest in something that is, I would say, a legacy building, where the investment and the money will be spent on the quality of the building and its environment, and that includes the external envelope, the internal entrance hall, the staircases, usually swimming pools. If you're going to use the right materials, the right building, you'll use natural stones. In architecture, where it's more about how many pounds per square foot will I get when I rent this office space, and the office space has now got a building cycle that may be between 25, 45 years. You're going to build it out of glass and metal as an exoskeleton to the building. And what you'll find is that every floor level where you've got the high quality offices, where all the city lawyers are, every reception counter and every lift wall will be marble or a natural stone, because they want to put over the quality of the building, the quality of the company working there. But so it's going to change in the way in which materials are used. Large volumes, maybe not in the future, because the costs won't be there and it won't be justified for a building that's got a cycle of 30 years before it's demolished. But on high-end residential and the projects where people are truly investing in the quality of the work they want to do, as you can see with some examples in the redevelopment in the city, then the stone will be there for 100 years' time again. But you need the right clients, you need the right people on the planning side to understand what they're trying to do, and then you need the right quality of company and suppliers to actually come together to make the whole thing work. And as the Academy, we need to have those generations of people coming through to actually keep that as a continuous process and not be worried about what's going to happen in the next 15 years.
Some of the questions here at the seminars have been about how do you get the best talent through the industry. There's young talent here that might lose interest, they don't see a career path. How can you provide mentorship for those people going forward?
Communication. I think as a federation, we have a lot of members. It would be really good to increase the communication with that membership, because the only way that we are going to keep people with the industry is by communicating the experiences that we all have. And it may be that, as you alluded to earlier, somebody might find that the sector of the industry that they're working in is not where their passion is. They might want to concentrate more on the stone element of it, shall we say, or they might want to concentrate more on the maintenance and the keeping things looking really good. So if you think of the industry and the sectors we have, there's the restoration, the conservation, the new build, the interior work, the landscaping work, quarrying. There's lots of different areas that people can really get involved in, but they'll only find out about it if you communicate. And you might find that by communicating with your stone supplier, that you find out there's a lot of opportunity with them, or communicating with the company you're using for the installation side or the design side.
But how can we scale that up, and how can digital capabilities be enhanced to scale up that communication? So rather than it being, between, for example, as we were talking with Sean about, between you and the local community, how can you scale up communication using digital capabilities to spread the word about opportunities in the industry?
That's a really good question. I think just using all the tools in a toolbox, through social media, through, sharing. That's how I get a lot of my knowledge, through social media, through, visiting trade shows like this. But often I live up in the northeast of England, so it's very difficult to often come down to places like this. So having kind of virtual hubs, virtual communities. So I'm part of various virtual communities where we chat, we talk about best practice. I think they're really vital.
Yeah, actually, Wynn's Becca was talking about the fact that the LinkedIn Wynn's community is really going strong. But is there a danger here that perhaps with kind of fractured groups within the industry, you don't get that cross collaboration? Or do you think it's better to have any networks rather than, just all the networks possible?
There is a danger that you then get a two-tier industry. So, you get people that really accelerate and they're really sharing knowledge and really advance on their digital journeys. But then you forget you've got people who are just starting out on their journey as well. So that the gap does get bigger. So yeah, we do need to be mindful of that, and to make sure it's inclusive for everybody.
And Chloe, what kind of support have you had through your career that's enabled you to arrive where you are? And how do you think you could offer that support going forward?
I think I've always just been given the opportunity to try. At Webb Yates, we're actually given responsibility quite early on, maybe on a small project, but you might lead on that one. So you're allowed to try, and it's okay if you make a mistake, it's okay if you fail at something, because you know that the support's there for you. So I think that's so important, to try and cultivate that culture of knowing that there is support around you. If you need it, you can reach out to people if you need help. If you don't know how to do something, ask a question. Like, there's no stupid question. You know who to go to talk about something. If you want to learn something new, that's also always been kind of encouraged in our office. A lot of the work we do, like with stone, for example, using stone structurally, it is a new kind of avenue for a lot of designers. So having that opportunity to do some research and development into a new aspect of our industry is really important, and I think it encourages that kind of culture of collaborative kind of work, which is really important. I think collaboration is the best way to learn, really. So, yeah.
It certainly is. And talk about cooperation and advances within the industry and scary headlines. I suppose I'd like to put my last point to you, Sean. Are you ever worried that the robots will eradicate the work of stonemasons?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think the better the machines get, you'd be amazed what these machines can do now, especially in the production. But they're still masons' tools. It's just another tool for a good mason to learn, to get full advantage from it, and they are safer, so less hand-arm vibration, less dust, less. So you still need skilled masons with the knowledge to use these machines. You still need to be able to move the stone around, take it to site, fit it, and what have you. So I'm all for it. We move forward, and that's how it has to be. It makes stone more affordable at times, which maybe means industry grows because of that. and then you get more people involved, and it's more exciting and everything else.
Okay, so I just want to finish this round by kind of giving, you could all give one top tip of how you think you could propel change and really advance the younger talent coming through. Let me start with you, Chris. What would you say? What would you say that you think the key, your key aim, one aim is to do?
I would say learn something every day. If you can learn one thing every day, you'd be surprised how quickly you build up the knowledge.
So just don't stop on that knowledge journey,
yeah,
that learning
yeah.
journey. Thank you.
In a nutshell, that's all I would say.
Thank you, Stefan.
I would say we need to look outside of construction. We need to look at what other industries are doing, because they're going through exactly the same issues that we are. So let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's see what we can learn from them.
Brilliant. Thank you. Chloe?
I would say stone, especially using stone structurally and in new ways, is a great way to tackle the climate crisis. It's a low carbon material, and I think that need is appreciated by a lot of younger people, and I think
And
that
do you
brings
think by pushing that message out, you'll draw more people in?
I think so. Everyone wants to find a solution, and that's one way forward.
Great. And Sean?
I'm lost at the question now.
Okay. What was your one top tip, or what would you like to see happen to get more people
To companies,
into the industry, get younger people and push them through the
get a
industry?
clear training structure and get it there for young people and do it properly, so they don't get disheartened. They know where they're going, they know what they're doing, and teach them job satisfaction. You know, it's a very satisfying job when you look back. You physically made something, whatever it is, wood, stone, anything. If you've made something, whether there's no better satisfaction. You learn to love your job, and every job's hard, but if you're getting some satisfaction out of it and you're enjoying it, you'll keep doing it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you to all of you, Sean, Chloe, Stefan and Chris. It's been really fascinating. I do appreciate your time. If you'd like to take your seats, and we're going to move on to the award ceremony. So it is now time to recognise the rising stars of the stone industry who'll be tackling all of these issues that we've been talking about in the years ahead. And each of them have delivered a really exceptional performance within their workplace, but they've also demonstrated a really positive attitude and commitment to self-improvement, which are really essential attributes for leaders of tomorrow. So 20 emerging talents were shortlisted back in the spring, and now they've been reduced to the final 10. So, on behalf of the Natural Stone Show, I'm delighted to announce the 2023 Emerging Talent winners as Ellie Parker, Sales Manager, Stoneworld, Oxfordshire; Jason Kennedy, Director of Stone Cladding Systems; Kirsty Smart, Sawyer Rockford; Steve Poole, Design Technician of Zerumni; Jasper Zambellis, Sales and Marketing Executive of Z Zambellis; Jeremiah Clark, Technical Manager of Stonegate Precision Tooling; Archer Zligzins, who's Senior Project Manager and Associate Director of Restore London; Stevie Murphy, Apprentice of Planet Granite; Becca Cranfield, Director of Athena Stoneware, Stonecare, I should say. Sorry about that, Becca. And Luke Maher, Stonemason from Historic Environment Scotland. So, well done to all of you. A really great round of applause. And before we invite the winners up onto the stage to collect their awards, we're going to watch a short video to find out a little more about them.
I'm Kirsty, I'm a sawyer at Rockford Stone Company.
I'm Jason Kennedy, Director and Owner at Stone Cladding Systems.
Hi, I'm Stevie. I'm an apprentice at Planet Granite.
My name is Ellie Parker. I am Sales Manager at Stoneworld, Oxfordshire Limited.
I'm Arthur. I'm Associate Director for Restore London.
I'm Becca Cranfield and I am Director at Athena Stonecare.
I'm Luke Maher and I'm a stonemason working for Historic Environment Scotland.
My name is Steve Poole, Design Technician for Cerami Limited.
I'm Jeremiah Clark from Stonegate Tooling and I work on technical management and the Northern sales rep.
I'm Jasper Zambellis, Sales and Marketing Manager from D. Zambellis.
Without a doubt, my proudest achievement so far is becoming co-chair of Women in Natural Stone. It was a huge honour to have been asked to take on the role after Claire founded the group 2 years ago. And since then, to have been able to develop the group, to have launched our mentoring scheme, and to have seen some incredible women develop and transform in their own confidence through the networking that we've provided. It's a massive honour to be able to direct that group, to lead them, and we're looking forward to lots more to come for Women in Natural Stone.
I believe the pandemic has really accelerated the need to become more digital in how we offer all of our services. So, for example, us as a company, we've developed even something as simple as, creating a WhatsApp group to help with machinery diagnosis to reduce downtime, to developing a CAD training centre dedicated for the stone industry to allow fabricators to feel motivated to take on more complicated projects, to push the limits of their machines, but always knowing that we're there to support them in doing that. As a company, we're always looking to invest in the future, in our resources, and one day we hope to be an innovative training centre and one of the largest in the UK for the stone industry.
Seeing the completed works of the National Portrait Gallery, where we have worked on the existing stone fabrics and also delivered the architect's ideas for all the new stonework, we've definitely made the Portrait Gallery more accessible to everyone.
It's a good question. I started straight from college in 2012 and I've been in it ever since, coming up 11 years now in August. The person who's helped me most in this industry is probably Clayton Worsley. Began as a colleague, now he's my manager. He was the person that first suggested I got into this industry and got me the job, and has been through all the tough times with me, training me up right from my teenage years. I think that's where he lost most of his hair.
I think still having both hands and all my fingers. No, not being super woke, but being a female in a male-driven industry, to have achieved what I have, got as far as I have, solely on what I believe is just like the hard work. I think that's like such a great achievement.
We need to market the stone industry to schools where children have not made their career decisions yet. To do this at colleges is a little bit too late, as they've already made the decisions on their career. In July, we are attending a local school for a STEM and Careers Day. We're taking the system into the classroom so that kids can see how stone works on a range screen format. And we're also taking in a load of other sample panels that won't be built for them to get hands-on experience and do some building themselves and to create more interest. I think this will help with their understanding and hopefully gear some of them towards the stone industry in the future.
My long-term ambitions are to drive my family business to become an international company, supplying stone products globally across the world. I've got a long way to go in terms of leadership and like business skills and development, so that's a good challenge.
I would have to say the industry experience, the hands-on knowledge and experience is second to none as far as I'm concerned. You need that opportunity to make mistakes and also to learn from other people, more experienced people.
The thing I'm most proud of is probably winning gold at the Skill Build UK finals in November last year. That was a big achievement and something that I was very keen to do. I was also part of the team that took the Stone of Destiny down to Westminster Abbey for the coronation, which was also a very interesting and an amazing experience to be a part of, to be in Westminster and being able to kind of be in the centre point of the coronation and around the chair. Was really cool.
This is a great question and very close to my heart, because it's certainly a huge issue in this industry, and I hear it all the time when I'm visiting customers. You know, they interview a young person, they try the role for a morning or 2 hours, and next minute they're nowhere to be seen. And all I'd say is I think we should embrace their technical and IT knowledge. They're coming out loaded with new ideas, and we need to learn to realise that, yeah, whilst they might not like the code of a factory floor, let's use the knowledge they do have to fast forward the automation in the industry, to utilise the actual machines we have available to us, some of these awesome CNC machines. And yes, the answer might be that it reduces a bit of manpower in the industry, and we certainly don't want to get rid of the traditional stonemason who has extremely good, capable skills, but it will create a safer work environment. And also there's plenty of jobs that can be automated that actually, if we're absolutely honest, is better done by a machine than by a human. And these young people actually have the skills and abilities to make this happen, and make it happen a lot quicker. So I say, get out your comfort zone and embrace the new technical and IT knowledge that the youth have of this day and age.
Well done to you all. And before we ask the winners to come up onto the stage, I just really want to say congratulations. Really uplifting and inspiring that video. So now I'd like to invite onto the stage Eric Bignell, editor of the Natural Stone Specialist magazine, and Richard Bradbury, managing director of the QMJ group that organises the Natural Stone Show. And they're going to be presenting the awards, I'm really pleased to say. So if we get the awards ready and we can start the roll up. So please do welcome, on behalf of Ellie Parker, who we congratulate on just getting married, her father, Rob Parker. I hope he's here. Is he here? He's not here. Well, they're obviously all at the wedding or at the wedding celebrations afterwards. Please do welcome onto the stage as well, Jason Kennedy. Well done, Jason. Like to come over here to have a quick photo. Congratulations. Lovely. Well done, Jason. I'm going to get you all up for a group photo in just a moment. Also, please welcome Kirsty Smart. Congratulations, Kirsty. Lovely. And please welcome Steve Poole. Congratulations, Steve. Next, congratulations to Jasper Zambellis. And also, please give a round of applause to Jeremiah Clark. Okay, lovely. And congratulations also to Archers Legzins. I'm afraid I might not have pronounced your surname correctly, but congratulations. And please give a round of applause to Stevie Murphy. Next up, please welcome Becca Cranfield to the stage to receive her award. And finally, please give a warm welcome and congratulations to Luke Mayer. We'd love to get everybody who's received an award today onto the stage so we can get a really nice group photo. Just like to say thank you very much. Congratulations to all the winners. You can see the huge talent that is in the industry. That is all from me, but please do return here tomorrow at 10 o'clock because there's so much still to discuss about the future of this industry. But for now, thank you very much, and let's just give the winners one last round of applause. Thank you.